Hey, Bill here with 30-Minute Woodshop. Thanks for joining. Today, I want to show you how to make a two-tiered modern plant stand. I'm using material right from a big box store, so it's already dimensioned. It's dimensional lumber. This is actually 11¼ wide by 3/4 wide. This is red oak, so you can get that at any of the big box stores. And this is a 1.5 by 3/4 inch pieces. I've already got these cut out into squares. So very easy to do, just cut 2 squares for the top and the bottom. And then these are actually cut out to 38 inches long. I have a sketch. You go to the bottom, all right, hit my, blog. There'll be a sketch there you can take a look at. In the bottom, by the way, is the link to the blog. There's also some links to some of the tools and things that I use. Go explore those links, and I'll say up front, do me a favor. Help support my channel, hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. So, on that note, let's go to layout. First thing I want to do is to find the center of each of these squares. Then I'm going to take them over to the bandsaw, and I have a cutout jig to cut circles out of these, so we'll end up with 2 identical circles. As either square, all I'm doing is taking a straight edge. This is just a piece of cherry that I have laying around. Going corner to corner, and marking the center. So this is a super easy process. And this will find the center in a matter of seconds. And there we go. I'll do that in both of these. Then I'll put a small hole here using an awl, and that's going to be my pivot point when I take it over to the bandsaw. And there we go. Okay, these are ready for the bandsaw. Now for these pieces, I need to mark to notch them. And I got a little sketch here. It tells me exactly where to mark these things. I want them to be 1 foot, 12 inches from the bottom to the first one. And then I want them 2 inches down from the top. So to keep these from moving, I'm just going to toss a clamp on them. Make sure they're even at both ends. And mark down 2 inches from one side. And 12 inches the other way. What this does, this gives me on this side the bottom of the bottom shelf, and this is the top of the top shelf. Now what I need to do is mark 3/4 of an inch each way. And that'll be the thickness. Now, I'm going to nibble these out on the table saw, which should be easy enough to do to give me a nice tight fit. You notice I'm Xing the spot, the waste material. That's so I don't mess up and result in taking material off where I don't want it. So everything's marked up. Let's hover the bandsaw and cut out the circles. Okay, let's talk about what we have going here. Basically, this is my field expedient circle jig. I learned all about field expedients when I was in the Marine Corps. Basically, take whatever you got and you make it work. Super simple jig. I know a lot of people have these really super fancy jigs. I don't need that much. I only have a couple things that I actually cut out. So that's why I have this. I'll show you in another video later on how to actually make one of these. Super simple again. I'm all about making things easy on myself and not going crazy. So what we have here is basically the platform or platen, and then I have a slide. So what happens here is this thing moves back and forth. I can put the piece onto my pivot point here, and all this is a small screw sticking up. Sticks up about 1/8 of an inch. Put it on there, and I can feed this directly into the bandsaw till it stops. I've got a stop put in here, just clamped in here so it stops. I have a line drawn here, which is the center line, and that lines up right with my tooth. So easy, easy, easy jig to make. Easy jig to use. All right, now let's get busy using it. Okay, we're on the jig. Let's make some noise. There we go. Perfect circle. One more to do. The next step here is to nibble away on both the upper and lower shells. So I have a notch to accept the discs, the shells. So all I've done here is I've marked these. I'm just lining it up. And it's fairly important these be tight when to fit to the shelf. I set my blade for 1/2 inch, so let's make some noise. All right, fit up's super important, so we're going to check it right now. Ooh, nice and tight. Okay, that looks good. Let's do the next one. Okay, let's take a quick check. Okay, perfect. Nice and tight, looks good. We're almost ready to assemble. Okay, a few more steps to go. Got to do some sanding. The side that I have the little pinhole in is going to be the bottom, but I still want to sand it. I'm using 220 grit and an Oreda Morbo sander. Let's make some noise. All right, I want to keep a nice crisp edge for that modern look, but I don't want them as sharp as these are. To get there, I'm going to use an 1/8 inch router bit in my DeWalt. It's actually a 1/4 cable router bit. There's the links in the bottom to this stuff if you're interested. So I'm going to get all the inside outside edges on the legs. And then I'll come back, once I mark out the location of the legs, I'll route the edges on the shelves also, so it doesn't interfere with where the shelf intersects with the legs. That way that joint will be nice and crisp also. Okay, a few minutes of routing. All the edges are nice and rounded over. No sharp edges, no sharp splinters or anything. Still look really sharp, really crisp as far as the eye. So if someone picks this up or touches it, they won't have any sharp edges to touch. And it looks like we're almost ready to assemble. So the next thing I have to do though is lay out positions for my Craig pocket holes. I'm going to be securing the shells to these with both glue and Craig pocket holes. So let's go do that. I need to lay out, because I have 3 legs, 120-degree tags around the circumference of the circle so I can put in my Craig pocket holes. So I'll start out, I'm using this general compass or protractor. All I've got here is my center marked. Lay it down, mark my first, flip it around, line this edge up against with the center line, put this at 30 degrees. I'm not even going to bother screwing it down, just pin it really hard. Then come back around here at 120. Pin it down. I'll tell you, this is a handy little piece of equipment. There's a link for this in the notes at the bottom and also on my blog. Great piece of equipment, costs dirt. Really good. So now I have my spots laid out at 120 degrees. So the next thing I want to do is set my Craig jig up so I can drill some holes in here and make sure that I got everything set up. Then we're just about ready for assembly. All right, with everything marked, I have the Craig jig set up. Appropriate depth here, I set this to 3/4. That's about what I'm looking for. All I do is line up this with the line on the bottom and this with the line on the top on the B for my jig and drill. So let's make it happen. And there we go. 5 more of those and we're done. Okay, second one's finished. A little more sanding to get rid of the marks on here. We'll be ready for assembly. So, real quick dry fit. This is just sitting here. All right. The lower joints are nice and tight. The upper joints are a little looser than I want. So I'm going to actually put in a couple of really thin shims in there to tighten those up before I screw it all down. But other than that, it looks like she's ready to put together. So, assembly here is pretty straightforward. You got all this thing set up. All you do is throw some glue on it, take some pocket hole screws, drop them into the holes, screw them down. You're all set. I love Craig pocket hole screws, pocket jig. A lot of folks out there right now are poo-pooing the whole pocket hole thing, but let me tell you, you really can't find an easier way to put stuff together, and it is a high quality joint. If it wasn't, they wouldn't be using it in manufacturing, I'll tell you. So, not a dovetail, not handmade, but that's okay. It's easy to do, easy to use, and makes a strong joint. So, this thing's never coming apart. So our next step out of this is going to be get some finish on it. I'm going to throw a stain on this, and then I'm going to hit it with a couple coats of polyurethane, especially on the tops of these, because I want to make sure that I don't have a lot of water. You know, plants can. Water's going to be sitting on this. I don't want a lot of water sitting on this and ruining the finish. So, anyway, off to finishing. Okay, Just throwing on a coat of Minwax Special Walnut on this red oak. It gives it kind of a more of an antique look to it, which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted that darker walnut rather than what you'll find in some. A lot of folks use golden oak or a lighter pecan or something. Didn't really want that kind of a look on this, so we'll apply the stain, give it a minute or two, wipe it off, just kind of rag it on, wipe it off, and that'll give us a nice medium dark coat that's this is looking really nice. Just doing the wipe off here of the stain. It's a Minwax Special Dark. Yep, Special Walnut, sorry. Special Walnut on this oak. It's really nice. It's looking like a lot like if, I don't know if you ever saw a fumed finish. Fumed oak finish. It's very popular in the Craftsman period. It's kind of that darker oak look. And that's real good simulation of that without all the pain and anguish. The way that's done is you put it into a tented area, very confined area, and you throw in some ammonia and let the vapors or the ammonia work with the tannin in the oak, and that gives it a dark hue. This is a lot easier and faster, and quite frankly, I think it's a lot safer too. I don't know that I want all that hanging around my shop. But there we go. So this is ready to sit around and dry for a little bit. I'll give it about an hour, and then I'll throw on a final coat or two of polyurethane. Though, honestly, I like the way this looks, I gotta say. If this wasn't going to be a plant stand, I don't know if I'd use polyurethane on it. I would probably just wax it off, because I really like the way it looks. But polyurethane for this, because it's going to be a plant stand. You're going to get wet for absolutely certain. So I'll put a couple coats on everywhere, and then an extra coat on top of the shelves, just to make sure people spill water and whatnot doesn't damage the wood. So we'll be back in a little while. First coat of polyurethane is on. This is Varathane polyurethane. It's oil-based paint or oil-based varnish. I'm using oil-based because I found over the life it works better, lasts longer when it's exposed to water. And this probably will be exposed to water off and on as people spill things on it, filling up pots and whatnot. So I have one more coat to put on the whole thing, and then another third coat on top of each of the shelves to try and give it maximum protection. So I'm sanding out with 320 between coats to give me a nice smooth finish. And hey, once it's dried up, I'll be back. The project is done, but let me take a brief aside. Today is the birthday of the Marine Corps. Brothers and sisters, happy birthday. May we serve for another 247 years with honor and distinction. Semper Fi. So, back to the project. Hey, I had a great time doing this. Super simple, super easy, super quick. I tell you what, you can't get easier than this. 3 legs, 2 shelves, dimensional lumber, all right? Absolutely super easy to do. A couple of pocket holes, using a Craig pocket hole jig, bang, you're done. So, keep that in mind. I'd say, guys, give this a shot. If you want to try it out, okay, you should go down here, type this into your browser, 30minutewoodshop.com, or go to the bottom and just click on the link. It'll take you right to the blog. And in that blog, you'll find a dimensioned sketch. So go ahead and pull that down and use it. To finish this project off, what I did here is I put 3 coats of polyurethane on the top surfaces of the shelves, and 2 coats everywhere else, including the undersides, by the way. And between those, I sanded it with 320 grit sandpaper, just to make it nice and smooth. Okay. Now, what I'm doing for the final step is I'm going to throw on a coat of Johnson's Paste Wax. So it'll be an outstanding final finish for this whole plant stand. Now, as I said, dimension drawing is in my blog. Run down, click on that link, you can find it and download it if you want to make this project. Okay. There's also other links down there to the tools that I use for this project and other projects. I gotta say, for a 30-minute woodshop, folks, the only way you get this done in 30 minutes is by having the right tools at the right time. All right, you don't need a joiner or planer. There's a lot of things like that. I'm trying to keep these to the point where you can buy off-the-shelf S4S lumber like this, right from a big box store or your local lumber yard. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but you know, by the time you get done buying a $1,000 jointer, you get done buying a $1,000, $900 planer, you spend another $1,800, $2,000 for, you know, a drum sander. It's a lot of money. This way, I tell you what, you can do this very easy, very simple. You can make a lot of projects before you make up that $4,000 or $5,000 for those basic parts of your toolkit. So check those out, see what you got. You know, even a bandsaw these days is what, $1,400 bucks. So the jigsaw is a great replacement for that for $100, $150. Give it a shot, man. So check those out anyway. Now, here's the deal. I really like it when I get to see what you guys are working on. All right, if you do this project, do me a favor, post something either in the comments down here, let me know you did that. I'd appreciate that. I'd love to see what you're working on. Post it in my blog. Great. And really what I'd like you to do, however, is go to my Facebook page, drop a couple photos in there, because I really want to see what you're doing. You all give me inspiration to show up in the shop every day, to be honest with you. Some days, I don't really feel like doing this. So, I don't know, some of you guys would probably have the same thing. Some days you're so busy and you're burned out, you don't want to do anything. But you know, I love seeing your projects. I love seeing what you're working on, man. So, go ahead, drop those, check my Facebook page out, drop something in there if you're working on it. Would really appreciate it. So, okay? So on that note, like I said, run down, find the sketch in my blog, check out the links, and hey, if you got something out of this, do me a favor, huge favor, hit like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. Make sure you hit the little bell too, so you're notified next time I put something up. Hey, I appreciate your patronage. And until next time, folks, hey, good making.